back in Minneapolis as we get set for the Cardinals and the Vikings. Jared Allen and the Vikings for the win today. We'll be right back in the thick of the NFC North race. Cardinals just a game out in the NFC West.
Well, we keep focusing on the offense, and whether it's Brett Favre or Sidney Rice or Randy Moss, the issues seem to be on that side of the ball. But Goose, you think there's some issues on the other side as well.
Listen, the Vikings are struggling right now on defense. Their defense is good enough to go and carry this team to make some victories. Last year they had 48 sacks. Right now they only have 6. They have to go and get better on that line of scrimmage and get some pressure with 4 guys. That'll make this team get a W today.
All right, Goose. Cardinals have won the toss. Ryan Longwell will get things started. LaRod Stevens-Howling leads the NFL in kick return yards. He is back deep for the Cardinals. Kickoff taken at the 1 by Stevens-Howling. Stumbles out to the 23-yard line as Derek Anderson, who spent the last 5 seasons in Cleveland, started the first 4 games before giving way to Max Hall. Anderson will lead the Cardinals offense out.
And I think one of the things that you have to understand, when you go from one team to another, you're getting a different offense. And Derek Anderson may have had too much on his plate when the season started. Now, last week when he came in for Max Hall, that game plan had been scaled down for Max Hall, and everybody in Arizona felt he played a lot more controlled and a lot more in charge with that simpler game plan.
Cardinals start with 3 wide receivers. Tim Hightower in the backfield. Hightower takes the handoff from Anderson at a penalty marker as Hightower, who carried only 1 time against the Bucs last week, gains 7.
Holding, number 89, offense. 10-yard penalty, repeat first down.
That's on the tight end, Ben Patrick, as we check out the Cardinals offense ranked next to last in the National Football League.
Yeah, they're not doing a great job offensively. And the biggest thing is turnovers. I mean, they're beating themselves. And we've seen that so much this season, is teams not doing the things necessary to win games from a playmaking standpoint. Number 1 on that list to do is don't beat yourself. And Arizona has continued to do that through the course of the season.
Cardinals have committed 23 turnovers, most in the league. First down and 20 following the penalty. Off the fake toss to Hightower. Anderson moving to his right. Can't find anyone downfield. And he is chased out of bounds by Ray Edwards.
Looked like Derek Anderson underestimated the speed of Ray Edwards there, Darryl.
You ain't kidding. And this defensive front is very quick. Obviously with the big Williams boys inside, but Jared Allen, Ray Edwards coming off those edges, that will be a concern for Arizona today. But I agree, Tony. I mean, this group has got to reassert itself. I know the dynamics of the game are a little bit different this year than they were last year, but I am most surprised to see teams running the ball effectively against this defense. That is something that they have always been very, very good at.
And Edwards credited with a sack on that last play. First for the Vikings in the last 4 games as he chased Anderson out of bounds. And now LaRod Stevens-Howling is bottled up. He loses a yard. Pat Williams on the tackle.
That is the type of defense we're used to seeing. And Tony mentioned being able to get pressure with 4. That hasn't been working out this year. They need to dial up some different blitz packages, bring Ben Lieber, those linebackers, E.J. Henderson, some guys from the secondary. Now you've got them right where you want them. 3rd and long, at home, in this dome. It's going to get loud. Advantage goes to that Minnesota front right now.
On 3rd down and 21, the pass is caught up at the 21-yard line by Larry Fitzgerald for a gain of 9. Cardinals will punt it away.
And the Minnesota Vikings today also, Darryl, are wearing that purple pants. I talked to Ziggy Wilf before the game. It's been, the last time they wore those purple pants was 07. And the defensive line went to Ziggy and said, listen, we want to start a new, fresh season, and it's going to start today, and we want a new uniform today, so we let them wear them purple pants. I like it.
Ben Brown punting to Greg Camarillo. Camarillo took it up to the 44-yard line. And then he was tackled by the long snapper, Mike Leach. And Goose, you referred to the purple pants. New season as Brett Favre comes out. He passes Bruce Matthews today, making his 293rd career start in the National Football League. Favre and Matthews have been tied at 292.
You got to say something after that, though, Kenny. Stitches in the chin, 2 broken bones in his foot, and he's still out there playing.
Not only broken bones, but perhaps the ugliest left foot I have ever seen in my life.
I thought he was still dressed for Halloween. I thought that was the fake foot when I saw it.
Oh, boy. I don't know how he walks around out there with that thing.
A medical marvel. Terrific field position for Favre. Now the Vikings, they start from their own 44. Off the play fake. Favre's pass is caught for a first down by Bernard Berry. And Darryl, you spoke on the pregame show about Favre needing to get the other wide receivers involved in the absence of Randy Moss, and for Berry at only his 10th catch of the season.
Well, they've never had an opportunity to build any chemistry, any rapport. And this is also including Percy Harvin, because Percy had the migraine issues during training camp. Brett Favre came into camp late. Visanthe Shenko was in and out of training camp. This group has never really had an opportunity to develop that chemistry. And when Randy Moss was here for that 1 month, the focus was on him, getting him acclimated. So this group is going to have to take some time, but I think that Brett Favre feels better about what each guy brings to the table with his skill set.
1st and 10 from the 45, off the fake to Peterson. Favre wrapped up. Down he goes, back at the 49-yard line. Joey Porter with his 4th sack of the season.
Looks like Adrian Peterson just missed him on the blitz there, Darryl.
Yeah, you don't like to see your running back chasing a linebacker back towards the pocket. You got to be a complete guy. You got to be able to run, catch, and block, and there's the guys that are going to be responsible for that. And this offensive line, that's another area. You know, you see them, and Tony talked about the defense. We've talked about a lot of distractions. You know, let these guys get into a rhythm. Let's start running the ball with Adrian Peterson. Arizona struggles against the run. Let's go after their weakness.
2nd down at 15 from midfield. Here is Peterson. And Adrian takes it to the 44-yard line of the Cardinals. Brian Robinson, the tackle, gain of 6. Cardinals defense ranked 27th.
And it's kind of funny, you talk about the dynamics of a team and how they're working, and this group has always had a guy like Kurt Warner, so there was going to be a lot of points scored. They knew if they had a slow start to a game that Kurt could come down the field and rally him with some big plays. They haven't had that dynamic this year. A lot more responsibility falls on this defensive group, and just like Tony talked about Minnesota, Arizona's defense has to step up.
You had a look at the new chin strap that Brett Favre is wearing today after taking the hit in New England last Sunday. 10 stitches in his chin. Favre's pass is intercepted by Kerry Rhodes, his teammate with the Jets 2 years ago. And Rhodes is inside the 20, the 10, stripped of the football, and it goes through the end zone.
Ruling on the field. The runner fumbled the ball before he went across the goal line. Therefore, it is a touchback.
That's why you don't quit on a play. It doesn't matter how bad it's going to look like. Don't quit on a play, and something like this could happen. You could save a touchdown.
Greg Camarillo with the strip.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com.
A wild play here in Minneapolis as both teams commit a turnover on the same play, and terrific hustle by Greg Camarillo.
Unbelievable hustle. And Tony talked about it. You never know when you're going to have an opportunity to make a play that changes the game. Greg Camarillo with a great hustle gets an opportunity right there.
So the Vikings basically lose 36 yards, but they get the ball back. As Favre swings it out to Percy Harvin. Harvin with a first down and more. Out to the 48-yard line. Harvin gains 28 before he was tackled by Porter.
Let's go back and take a look at this one here. Percy Harvin on the quick bubble screen. Missed tackle on the outside. Adrian Wilson in space. If Minnesota can create that matchup during the course of the day, they'll take that every time. Percy Harvin, even with a bad ankle, is going to be a little shifty for Adrian Wilson in space.
Toby Gerhardt in the backfield, the rookie out of Stanford. Favre fires short, intended for Camarillo.
We talked about the hustle by Greg Camarillo. He's going to be all the way out here, split. He's going to end up being at the 30-yard line when he realizes that that play is over.
He's the furthest guy from the ball.
He takes a great angle. Now, here's one of the things that why Brad Childress had to make the decision with Randy Moss was his effort on the field. Now, do you think if number 84 was split out wide left that he was going to make that play inside the 3-yard line? No, no, and that's why you had to make that decision.
Excellent point. Peterson across midfield, gain of 3 as we check in for the first time today with Kurt Menefee. Kurt?
And first place in the NFC South on the line, Falcons and the Bucs. Impressive opening drive by Atlanta, capped off by a Michael Turner 2-yard touchdown. 13 plays, nearly 7 minutes to open the game, and Atlanta's up 7-0 on the Bucs. Kenny Moose and Goose.
Good start for Matt Ryan and the Falcons. Ryan 16-1 at home.
That sends a message. 13 plays, over 7 minutes on the opening drive.
Third down and 7. Vikings must get to the 42. Favre goes down for the second time in this first quarter. Darnell Duckett with his second sack of the season.
Bringing 6 guys, it looks like right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 guys. I don't know, Darryl, get a lot of one-on-ones, but you got to go and give Brett more time than that.
Exactly, that's what it was. When you bring pressure, that's the one thing you do. You take away your help, and they got John Sullivan in a one-on-one with Darnell Duckett. He beat him right away at the line with his quickness.
Andre Roberts, the rookie out of the Citadel, awaiting Chris Cluey's punt.
False start. Number 33 offense, 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
DeMarcus Sanford. This will push the Vikings back 5 yards. So a wild start. Favre intercepted by Kerry Rhodes, who returns at 66 yards. Stripped at the 3-yard line by Greg Camarillo. Ball bounced through the end zone for a touchback. Vikings got it back, and now they punt it away. And will pin the Cardinals deep in their own territory midway through the first quarter.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Bud Light. It's the sure sign of a good time. Here we go.
Back in Minneapolis with no score. Who's the best team in the NFC? Go to foxsports.com to cast your vote. Raheem Morris said last week his Buccaneers are the best team in the NFC.
Well, we'll find out today against Atlanta. Not a great start for that Buc defense.
Both of these teams have won their respective divisions each of the last 2 seasons. On 1st and 10, we'll hand off to Tim Hightower, and he gained 6 out to the 21-yard line. Ben Lieber, the tackle.
That's actually a nice run by Tim Hightower. Good patience, good ability to jump back inside. He's going to try to bounce outside. Antoine Winfield's going to come up, one of the best tackling corners in the NFL, if not the best. And just a nice subtle move to get back to the inside.
Hightower has had his issues holding on to the football once again this season. 2nd down and 4. Anderson picked. Oh, let's see. Did Greenway hold on? Yes, he did. Chad Greenway with the interception. We talked about turnovers, Darryl. That's the 2nd committed by Arizona this quarter.
Well, this one is unacceptable, and this is why Derek Anderson found himself back on the bench. Previously, Chad Greenway is going to drop right into this throwing lane. There's no way you can tell me Derek Anderson can't see him.
Is an interception. Men down by contact.
I mean, he's lucky he didn't catch that cleaner. He's got 6 points. Steve Breston, number 15, might catch him from behind.
That's great concentration, though. Oh, the ball might have hit the ground there.
I don't know what Derek Anderson was looking at.
That is not an interception.
Well, Tony, you remember, they got to see it. It's called an interception on the field.
Ken Wisenhunt has thrown the red flag.
Flag's out.
It was ruled an interception.
Nope.
Arizona is challenging the ruling on the field that it was caught. We'll review the play.
So Bill Levy will take a look at it. Looked like it hit the field.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Toyota, by Sprint, the Now Network, and by UPS. Let UPS put the power of logistics to work for you.
Cardinals head coach Ken Wisenhunt challenging the call on the field of interception.
The receiver did not, the intercepting player did not maintain possession. The ball hit the ground. It's an incomplete pass. It'll be third down on the 21. With the timer put 7:02 on the game clock.
So Ken Wisenhunt wins the challenge. It will be third down and 4 for the Cardinals.
Oh, kind of funny, you know, you talked to Brett Favre on Friday afternoon, and his explanation of why they're sitting at 2 and 5 is, you know, the ball just hasn't bounced our way. Sometimes, and he's been a part of a Super Bowl team. You know, you do have to have some luck. Tony and I, we both know that also. And you know, last week, it's very similar. Medea Williams has an opportunity for an interception against New England, goes through his hands, becomes a long completion to Brandon Tate. Chad Greenway has an opportunity right there. You know, he might not get into the end zone with it if he gets it clean, but they're going to be first and goal probably. And this defense has got to take advantage of when the plays are there to be made, to make those plays, to create your luck.
Well, Greg Camarillo made some luck for them by hustling to the ball on that interception. They need more of that. That's the way you make your own luck, Darryl, is hustling to the ball. You know that.
Hash.
To respot the ball to the proper hash where it was on that last down with the incomplete pass.
So it's now third down and 4. Cardinals must get to the 25 for a first down. Anderson steps up, throws complete to Preston, but a terrific tackle. You talked about Winfield's tackling abilities. And he keeps Steve Preston from picking up a first down. Ray Edwards is down following a collision with teammate Jared Allen.
Yeah, a good tackle by Antoine Winfield, but a big hit back in the pocket. Well, that could have been bad for Jared Allen.
That's a nice job by Derek Anderson to stepping up into the pocket and not getting sacked, getting that ball off.
So both Allen and Edwards helped off. Ben Graham out to punt for the second time. Greg Camarillo, who saved a touchdown with his hustle, takes it on one bounce. Camarillo across the 40, big return out to the 44-yard line, and again it's the long snapper Mike Leach who makes the tackle following a 20-yard return. There's Sidney Rice. We had a look at Sidney getting the fans involved earlier. He and Brett Favre had some terrific chemistry last season. Sidney finishing 4th in the league in receiving yards, went to the Pro Bowl.
And he actually looked healthier than Percy Harvin on Friday at practice when we were watching him. Sidney Rice looked like he could have played today.
Yeah, and warm-ups also down.
Penalty flag on 1st and 10 from the 44-yard line as Peterson gains 1.
Offside, number 90 of the defense. 5-yard penalty, first down.
Darnell Dockett. Now, most of our viewers were either watching live or saw this highlight, the hit on Brett Favre in Foxborough last Sunday. We sat with him on Friday, only 5 days later, and aside from looking at his feet, he was wearing flip-flops. You would have thought it was the middle of the summer.
But you saw him going off on the cart, and it was the first time. I mean, his complexion, he lost all the color in his face, and that was Brad Childress's biggest concern. Is, you know, it really shook him a little bit.
Here's Peterson on 1st and 5. And then 4 days after the hit, Childress told us that on Thursday, it was the best he's seen Brett throw in practice all year.
You wonder if he ever feels healthy, how he can play, because it seems like he's always carrying something. And now you've got this new chin strap to protect the 10 to 12 stitches that are in that chin. We couldn't even get a good number because some of them are actually inside. It was deep enough where they actually had to put some stitches inside.
Childress also told us it was the first time, according to Brett, that he has been cut underneath his chin in his career. As Peterson takes it to the Cardinals' 47-yard line, we head to Los Angeles once again, and Kurt Menefee. Kurt?
Well, look out for the Lions. Matthew Stafford hooking up with his tight end Brandon Pettigrew for a 10-yard score against the Jets. Frank's upset pick looking good in the early going. They lead at 7-0 midway through the first quarter. Kenny Moose and Goose.
Lions looking to win their second straight. We saw the Jets last week. They were shut out by the Packers.
I'm on board with Frank Caliendo. I like the Lions over the Jets. That's a team to watch out down the stretch. They're gonna play well every week.
Inside handoff to Gerhardt, and he's bottled up. Shy of a first down, Paris Lennon.
All right, I don't like that play call. If I've got Adrian Peterson on the field, I want to give Adrian Peterson the ball.
And they're stacking it up there in the middle too.
Well, and Toby Gerhardt is not a true fullback, so there's got to be a little bit of a tell right there as a defense. You know, he's not gonna come out and knock you off your feet as a blocker. That's Nafahu Tahi. That's his job. But 3rd and short, I'm going to give the ball to number 28. I didn't like that play call.
Of course, Peterson stopped on 4th and goal from the one last week by the Patriots.
And they don't have, I think they've only got...
Play game. Offense, 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
Heath Farwell's over there talking to Bill Levy, saying maybe the ball got put down late. He's your personal protector that's controlling everything on that punt team.
Fans here in Minneapolis were not happy with the decision to send out the punting unit.
Well, you know,
maybe they were contemplating a fake here there.
You know, Tony, right now they've gone for it on 4th down against Miami. It didn't work, cost them points. Last week against New England, cost them points. I think you need to be a little bit more conservative with your game management as a head coach right now, too, until you can get some continuity.
And you talk about field position. Wow, the Cardinals are pinned back at the 1. Heath Farwell, the special teams captain, terrific play. Cardinals have to go 99 yards. Brad Childress told us the special teams are playing lights out. What a play on that last punt.
I can't even tell you how good that was by Heath Farwell right there. The timing, the effort to get that ball back, and then smart play by his teammates to make sure that Kenny Onatalo's helmet doesn't touch that goal line.
And it was close. I was standing 10 yards away, and I even thought it hit.
Couldn't have been much closer. Here's Hightower coming out of the end zone, and he's tackled after a short gain by Medea Williams.
Well, right after the play, we're looking, and Kenny Onatolu, you watch, he's the guy who recovers the ball when it's thrown back in. There he goes down right there. Now his face mask, watch right here. A little bit higher there. His face mask just misses that white line. Now, if it hits the white line, it's a touchback.
But a great job by Jamarcus Sanford and Cullen Loeffler right there to grab a hold of those shoulders and pull him back so he doesn't touch the line.
That's teamwork, Darryl.
Second down and 9. Again, it's Hightower trying to sneak out of the end zone. Antoine Winfield up to make the tackle. Well, it is a game of field position, and we talked about it on the 4th and 1. Brad Childress sends out the punting unit, and now the Cardinals facing a 3rd down and 10 from their own 1-yard line. Hightower lined up closer to Goose than his own quarterback. Anderson from the end zone, and the catch is made at the 15-yard line for a first down by the Minneapolis native Larry Fitzgerald. Gain of 14.
And this is the ups and downs that you have with Derek Anderson. The inexcusable throw he made that Chad Greenway should have picked off. And now this throw. This throw is fantastic. I mean, look at Larry Fitzgerald. He is completely blanketed over top of the underneath defender, in between two secondary players.
Derek Anderson had nobody inside him either. Ray Edwards took an inside rush, which was not a good move. Gave a clear look downfield to find Larry Fitzgerald for Derek Anderson.
For the Cardinals, Goose, their first down today. From the 15, Anderson looking to throw once again. He fires, and the catch is made at the 23-yard line for a gain of 8 by Steve Breaston.
He has great potential, and the reason that he is out there is Ken Wisenhunt feels that he gives Arizona the best opportunity with plays down the field. You can see the start, 4 for 5 for 35 yards. The one bad decision on the incomplete, he was lucky not to have that intercepted deep in his end. Those are the plays that he has to eliminate to develop trust, not only between the staff, but between his players, that he's the guy to play quarterback the rest of the year.
He went to the Pro Bowl following the 2007 season with the Browns. Inside handoff to Rod Stevens-Howling on second down and 1. And it's Chad Greenway who comes up to make the tackle.
Pat Williams does a great job on this play of penetrating and block and knocking off the guys who are pulling. See, not right in front of your screen. See how he gets depth? 66 there. Alan Faneca cannot come around with the penetration that this defensive line's getting. But now they got to start penetrating in the pass. Those guys in the middle have got to get pushed. So Anderson is not allowed or able to go and step up in the pocket. That'll help that pass rush.
Third down and 2. Anderson to the outside through the hands of Stevens-Howling.
Little mistiming by LaRod Stevens-Howling on that one. You got to float it up over to the defender. He elevates a little bit. He's coming down when the ball's arriving just off his fingertips. Boy, it has been a game of inches here in the first quarter. Several plays either made or missed opportunities by just inches.
Van Graham punting for the third time. Nice step to his left, gets it away, and here's Greg Camarillo, who made the play of the game so far. And Camarillo takes it up to the 48-yard line as the first quarter comes to an end. An 18-yard return. We are scoreless after 1 thanks to the strip by Camarillo. Fox NFL Sunday will return after these messages and a word from your local Fox station.
You play this long in the NFL, you establish a lot of friendships. Always good catching up with guys. And there's Paris Lennon, an old Green Bay Packer teammate of Brett Favre.
Brett Favre had a famous quote. He had his game one time in Green Bay, and it goes, Bruce, you know, it's tough to reminisce with guys when you were the only one there.
On the slant, Favre to Berrien. And Bernard Berrien takes it down to the Cardinals 33, gain of 19, the Vikings first down.
And I think this is the guy that Brett Favre would like to build a rapport with, Bernard Berrien. And I think early on in the beginning of the season when he was looking to Bernard on the deep throws and the back shoulder throws, that was not what he does best. What we've seen so far today is some play action with a boot on a crossing route. There's a slant route right there. So when we talk about developing that chemistry, that's what it is. What do you do best as a wide receiver? What things do you struggle with a little bit?
Favre on first down. Looking for Berrien once again as we check in on the Saints and the Panthers with Kurt.
Drew Brees came in with the lead leading 16 touchdown passes. He's now got 17, courtesy of Jeremy Shockey, who was shaken up on the play with a 7-yarder. Gives the New Orleans Saints a 7-3 lead over Carolina. Kenny Moose and Goose.
Thanks, Kurt. The defending Super Bowl champs, 5-3. Half game out in the NFC South.
We did that first matchup, Carolina and New Orleans, down in New Orleans, and that came down to a last-minute 17-14 victory.
Here's Percy Harvin, picks up a first down and more. Finally wrestled down at the 9-yard line by Kerry Rhodes. Favre hitting Harvin for 25 yards, and Harvin comes up limping.
Yeah, and I tell you what, he's had 2 catch and runs today that on Friday afternoon at practice, there's absolutely no way that I thought he could make. I mean, he was hobbling around at practice Friday to the point where you wondered if it was even counterproductive for him to be there.
He's fighting through it, though. You got to give him credit, man.
Absolutely.
He had 2 nice runs. You put the ball in his hands, he is great after the catch of going and making something happen downfield.
Harvin out, Camarillo in the slot. First and goal from the 9. Here's Peterson. Peterson takes it down to the 7, gain of 2.
But you just never get him to the ground. I mean, he's still on his feet. He's a beast.
Big game for Harvin last week in Foxborough. 6 receptions, 104 yards.
Off to a great start this afternoon. A lot of that on his own. Those are short catches with long runs.
2 tight ends. Second and goal from the 7. Berrien split to the right. Camarillo in the slot. Now Shanko split out to the left.
Delay a game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
I know it was a delay of game, but Adrian Wilson on the outside on Shanko. Oh, man, I've never seen a pancake like that, Darryl. Did you see that?
Now, you talk about press coverage. Here's how you just press the guy right into the turf.
I mean, Adrian just goes, puts his hands right inside.
Man.
I don't know if I hope Shanko is trying to sell that a little bit because that did not look good.
You don't have to run very far in coverage if your guy's flat on his back at the line of scrimmage.
That's true.
Barnes swings it out to Peterson, running hard. Inside the 10 to 5, touchdown, Adrian Peterson.
Nice job being on that far hash, getting it on the quick swing. Brett Favre comes out. He gives it to Adrian Peterson right away. And then he's able to use his speed, push that sideline, and a nice cut back inside.
Longwell the extra point. Peterson, the NFL's leading rusher, with his 2nd career receiving touchdown. 7-0 Vikes.
Today's game is sponsored by Coors Light, the new Silver Bullet aluminum pint from Coors Light, official beer sponsor of the NFL. By the new 2011 Ford F-150, built Ford tough. And by new Windows Phone. It's time for a phone to save us from our phones.
Adrian Peterson has given the Vikings a 7-0 lead. His only prior touchdown reception came in his first NFL game back in 2007 against Atlanta.
Well, he's had an expanded role this year on the 3rd down package and then in some play passes with Chester Taylor leaving via free agency to Chicago.
Rod Stevens howling. Quick return. Gets past Longwell. And Stevens howling is going to take it all the way for his 2nd kick return touchdown this season, 96 yards.
Minnesota's coverage team never made the Rod Stevens howling change his direction at all.
I don't think he had one cut on that, Moose.
Oh, he was full speed from the get-go.
Full speed ahead. Wow.
And watch this. I mean, there's nobody that even makes him hesitate for a second. There's your big double team right there. That was the key block. Jasper Brinkley gets double teamed. That's where they kind of punch the hole in the coverage. And the Rod Stevens howling just burst through that area.
He brought the opening kickoff back 102 yards against Oakland. Goes for 96 here in Minneapolis. Rod Stevens howling with a 96-yard kickoff return for a touchdown, the 7th return touchdown scored by the Cardinals this season.
And when you're having trouble getting stability at the quarterback spot, you have to have help from other areas. And now let's not forget, if not for a great play by Greg Camarillo, you could be at 8 return touchdowns for the Arizona Cardinals.
Short kick.
Kerry Rhodes nearly had his 3rd of the season. Percy Harvin back on the field on the return. Out to the 35-yard line. Stephen Howling, the first Cardinal to return 2 kickoffs for a touchdown in one season since Ollie Matson back in 1958.
Who?
You played against Ollie, right, Goose?
Yeah. Oh, man, I don't know where you get it from, Kenny.
You know, the other thing, Tony, and you were talking about it when we were at commercial, you know, what that did to this crowd.
Oh, forget it.
I mean, after the Adrian Peterson touchdown, you know, there's a little bit of a, you know, electricity here.
Yeah. It was down here, and then on that run back, I'll tell you what, it's gone. I mean, this stadium is flat right now. You can hear the background right from my open mic.
Here's Greg Lewis on the pass from Favre. He's wrestled out of bounds by Adrian Wilson. By the way, Goose, they were the Chicago Cardinals in '58. They had not yet moved to St. Louis.
That's why I didn't know it, Kenny. It was the Chicago Cardinals.
I just can't imagine what he feels like on Monday mornings. I mean, I was sore, and in 293 consecutive starts.
You buy
broken bones.
You buy a big ice
stitches,
machine.
Yeah,
big.
Just a freezer. You just walk into a freezer for about an hour.
Sleep
after
in
the
it.
game.
How some guys sleep in those barometric chambers. He sleeps in a walk-in box.
Incredible. 2nd down and 6 from the 40. Here's Peterson up the middle. He spins and picks up the Vikings' first down.
I'll tell you what, the offensive line does a great job. I don't want to take anything away from Adrian, but the hole, look at that hole right there. Wow, you give Adrian Peterson a hole like that where he can go and shake somebody down when he gets into it, you're going to be very successful running the ball. That was a great job of that offensive line for the Minnesota Vikings.
I can't believe I'm going to say this, Tony, but I think he actually runs better without a fullback in front of him. I think a single back center.
You're right.
It hurts. It hurt when I said it.
It was the first time for everything. We had never heard that before from Darryl Johnston. Favre firing downfield for Harvin. And it's broken up. Terrific play made by Kerry Rhodes.
Nothing wrong with taking a shot, Darryl.
I remember earlier we showed you Brett Favre and Joey Porter talking. And after we watched the end of this play, I want you to see the respect that Joey Porter has. He could have come in and probably put a hit on Brett. It might have been right on the edge of the line, but there's a respect factor there. And with all the talk we've had about defenseless players, it was good to see Joey Porter back off of this shot right here. He could have taken this one at Brett Favre, and he didn't.
Favre's pass is complete at the 46-yard line to Greg Lewis. Gain of 7. Greg Toller made the tackle.
Watch right here. I mean, you've got a chance to put a big hit on, and look at Joey Porter lay off. Now, there's that rule. There's the discussion we had a couple of weeks ago when we had 5 really big hits around the NFL on defenseless players, and good to see the respect from Joey Porter to Brett Favre.
Third down and 3. Percy Harvin in the backfield. A quick out. And Bernard Dorian picks up a first down. Adrian Wilson the tackle. New set of downs for the Vikings as we head to Los Angeles and Kurt Menefee.
Bears and Bills playing in Toronto. Chicago's Jay Cutler hooking up with Greg Olsen. And even on the metric system, it's still only 7 points for a touchdown. Bears have a 7-0 lead in the second quarter. Kenny Moose and Bills.
Darryl, you grew up in Buffalo, not too far from the border, and the Bills once again playing in Toronto.
They have a big fan base over in Toronto. You make the trek up there to watch the Maple Leafs, they make the trek down to watch the Bills.
There you go. From the 38-yard line, Favre hit right as he threw, and the catch was made by Harvin. This time, Joey Porter did not let up.
Well, Adrian Peterson is in the backfield. He's 7 yards deep, and he has to block to the outside. He does such a great job on the fake, but he has to block Porter. He ran right by him. He has to go and change his angle to get to the outside on that left. and protect Brett on that backside. That's twice.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Twice.
we had one earlier.
Third reception for Harvin today. From the Cardinals 23, it's Peterson. Cuts to the outside. Inside the 15. Down to the 13-yard line. And he took Rashad Johnson with him.
Oh, boy, yeah. Now you're trying to break down. He's out in space, and you're coming in. Again, it's that single back look, and it seems like it defines itself a lot better. Rashad Hall finds himself in space. Uh-oh.
I think Adrian Peterson, Darryl, single back there, he has more vision. He doesn't have that body in front of him. You talk about not having a fullback. I think he can see a lot more, and he has the moves to go and make people miss.
Peterson gained 11, his longest run today, and now it's Gerhardt. Vikings want to get Toby Gerhardt more involved. We talked about former Viking Chester Taylor, what a great job he did the last few seasons, and Gerhardt gained 6, Peterson back in.
And that's a lot of responsibility for Toby Gerhardt to try and replace what Chester Taylor did for this team in the role that he's got. Now, he's a young guy. He has to adjust to the NFL from college. He's doing a good job. He's getting better every week, and Brett Favre said had one of his better games last week against New England. They're starting to get in sync a little bit with what Brett wants from him as the running back.
Gerhardt in the backfield, 2nd down and 4. Favre swings it out, and Gerhardt tripped up down at the 3-yard line.
Wow. Every stadium has a turf monster in it, Tony.
I'll tell you what I like, though. I like Minnesota dumping the ball off. There's nothing downfield for Brett. Go and dump the ball off to your wide receiver, Percy Harvin, your backs, and let them go and run for first downs. This reminds me a little bit of the old St. Louis with their offense where they just dump the ball off all the time to Marshall Faulk. I like it.
Now 3rd down and 1, 10th play of this drive. Peterson.
I thought that was a face mask right there. Now, guys?
I tell you, it's amazing to me that they struggle as much as they do in short yardage. You've got a big offensive line. You've got one of the more physical running backs in the NFL. And Minnesota really struggles in this situation. Now he got the top of the helmet.
Top of the helmet, okay. I saw his head snap back. It was...
Peterson stopped short. So the Vikings send out Ryan Longwell and the field goal unit.
And I think that this is a good shoot. I agree with the choice by Brad Childress right here. They did it in the Miami game, and it came back and bit him at the end of the game. They did it against New England, and it came back and bit him at the end of the game. So I agree with this decision. You've rolled the dice twice early in the season, and it hasn't worked out for you, and you're struggling in that situation. Take the points right here. Take the 3 points at 6:30 to go in the 2nd quarter.
Yeah, you got to go ahead.
From the left hash from 21 yards out, Longwell's kick is good. So the Vikings come back after the kickoff return for a touchdown, lead by 3.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Burger King. Have it your way.
An 11-play, 61-yard drive for the Vikings. They end up with 3.
And I think it's a good decision. I really do. And the big reason is this is an offense that's lost its explosive capabilities. Last year, they were averaging almost 30 points a game. This year, they're under 20 points a game. So points are at a premium this year.
Here's Larod Stevens-Halleck, brought the last kickoff back 96 yards for a touchdown. This time he is tackled just shy of the 20 by Toby Gerhardt. Tonight on Fox, Halloween is not over until The Simpsons say it is with the all-new Treehouse of Horror. And the Bloodsuckers are hungry for Homer. The episode you've been waiting for is finally here. The all-new Simpsons Treehouse of Horror starting at 8, 7 Central tonight on Fox. Vikings lead the Cardinals 10-7. Beanie Wells in the backfield for the first time for Arizona. And the play is blown dead prior to the snap.
Neutral zone infraction. Number 96 of the defense came into the neutral zone, caused the offensive man to false start. 5-yard penalty, first down.
Brian Robinson.
That's a good call. You can't believe it, could you, Darryl? I said that.
I know. And we both made. What are we doing today? What happened to us?
Unbelievable.
Everybody's pointing at one another. Anderson 4 for 6. Fitzgerald 2 catches. Cardinals have only 1 first down. They have 39 yards of offense. Out to the 27-yard line, Stevens Howling.
But again, there's 3 phases to this team, so that kickoff return by LaRod Stevens-Howling is the big play for this group. 39 total yards for Arizona's offense right now, almost 130 for the Minnesota Vikings. They've been going up and down the field. And again, when you're having all the change at quarterback, you're going to run into these lulls. I mean, it's if Derek Anderson starts the season, then Max Hall is in, now it's back to Derek Anderson. It's not an easy thing to do for an offense.
Second down and 4. Anderson moves to his left. He throws, and wide open at the 42-yard line. Picking up a first down is Larry Fitzgerald, a 17-yard pass play.
But a guy like Larry Fitzgerald makes it a little bit easier. He's one of my favorite receivers in the NFL. Just amazing at the point of the catch.
If there's one guy you want to cover, that's probably the guy you would pick. No, Darryl?
Yeah.
Number 11. I mean, it's not really hard. The Vikings need to go find where 11 is and cover him.
And with that reception, guys, over 7,500 career receiving yards. Second youngest. Who is the youngest? Randy Moss. Doing it in his hometown of Minneapolis. Here today, Fred Evans into the backfield to wrap up Beanie Wells on his first carry for a loss of 2.
And Beanie Wells did not get any help from his guys up front on that one.
Fred Evans was in that backfield before. I think they even got the ball almost. Penetration, we talk about it every week, Darryl. You get penetration on defense, you shut offenses down.
And force that running back to make a decision before he wants to.
3 wide receivers to the right. Now early Doucette comes in motion. Second down and 12. Anderson out of the shotgun. Steps up. Throws. The catch is made by Doucette. And a terrific tackle by Hussein Abdullah, whose brother plays for the Cardinals. Gain of only 2 as we head west to Kurt.
Well, Cleveland had a 10-0 lead over the Patriots, but New England's rookies coming through to help out Tom Brady. Rob Gronkowski, deflection into the hands of Aaron Hernandez. Touchdown. Patriots, the 10-7 ball game approaching halftime. Kenny Moose and Goose.
So we're talking about making your own luck, Darryl. That's it right there.
Yep.
Concentrating on the ball, staying in the game, being around, being aware.
Cardinals just get the snap away on 3rd and 10. The pass is caught by Andre Roberts, but nowhere to go. Brian Robinson makes the tackle, and for the 4th time in 4 offensive series, the Cardinals will punt.
And a lot of that has to do with the tackling of the Minnesota Vikings. They did not tackle well against the Patriots last weekend. Much better this afternoon so far. Great hustle down the line by Brian Robinson.
Graham punting from his own 30. Camarillo from the 15-yard line. He's had some big returns today. This time tackled just shy of the 25.
As the dome turns, these are the days of our Vikes. A hero's welcome. Go-to guy gone. 4 on the floor. The prodigal son returns. A rolling stone gathers no moss. The heat's chilly.
And that's what happens when you're 2-5. You start asking for the coach to be waived. You have the soap opera atmosphere of your 5-2. All those issues go away. So Minnesota, just keep your nose to the grindstone. Keep working through this.
Now some trickery as Harvin hands it off to Bernard Berrien. on the double reverse, and Paris Lennon makes the tackle as Brett Favre ties a shoelace. Loss of 8.
He tried to help out.
He tried twice.
Yeah,
he's a little low. Here's the first one.
That acceleration.
Here's the first one. That wasn't good. That was a belly flop. Then he gets up again and another belly flop. Come on, hit somebody, dude. Where did I see him at halftime? That wasn't even a good belly flop.
Now Bella wishing he could have that play called back. Second down and 18. 3 wide receivers set. Favre with the sidearm toss. And out to the 17-yard line. It is Peterson. Gain of just 1.
Offside. Number 55, defense. 5-yard penalty. Repeat second down. This will be the 2-minute warning.
So with 2 minutes to go here in Minneapolis, first half, it's the Vikings leading the Cardinals by 3. Vikings lead the Cardinals 10-7, 2 minutes to go. Second quarter.
Well, they're spreading them out on this one, Darryl. 4 wides.
And more movement.
Shanko got all excited. He wanted to get out of there a little ahead of everybody.
Number 81, offense, 5-yard penalty, second down.
Second and 18 upcoming. And at halftime, don't forget, stay with us for the Visa Halftime Report with Kurt, Terry, Howie, Michael, and Jimmy. We'll be along with scores and highlights, an update on the Bears and the Bills from Toronto, and an NFC South showdown in Atlanta that's coming up on the Visa Halftime Report. Second down and 18. Backfield remains empty. Everybody out for Brett Favre. A pump fake, now he throws. Catch is made by Harvin. And he's tackled at the 19-yard line. The combination of Michael Adams and Darnell Dockett.
Yeah, Darnell
Dockett is down.
Yeah, he does a nice job of coming back out on that little screen to the outside where they've been hurting him with. And he's down.
I wonder if he's taking some of your advice that you gave him, Tony.
Well, it's inside 2 minutes. Trying to slow things down. We talked to me and Darryl, you know, all these coaches come up with all these terms about, you know, inside 2 minutes, this is what you're supposed to do. If you have 3 timeouts, use 2 minutes as one. But we learned today that outside 2 minutes, if somebody gets hurt, you stop the clock altogether. So I was telling them, you know, if you have a hangnail or something and you're a smart guy, you know, back when I played, you know, you go down and you have that phantom hamstring and you slow everything down.
You perfected the art of the phantom hamstring injury.
Yeah.
Stop the clock.
Little do they know I don't have a hamstring, Kenny.
Does not look like a phantom injury this time.
No, not on him. Darnell's a tough guy.
Yeah, but he's got no pads in his pants. I mean, it looks like it's his. Trying to see where it's his arm.
None of the defensive guys have pads in their pants.
You guys are nuts. You guys are crazy.
What do you need pads for?
A helmet in the thigh.
That's why you lift.
Vikings must get to the 34. Third down and 14. Harvin underneath. And Harvin is stopped 2 yards shy. And now the Cardinals will use their first timeout. They stop the clock with 1:38 remaining as the Vikings send out the punting unit.
It's like they're massaging a stinger in his back or something, huh?
Exactly. You know that. You know that one.
Oh.
Well, this week the Big Ten Network unveils the latest Big Ten icon, number 12, John Wooden. Before he came the Wizard of Westwood, he was one of the great Boilermaker basketball players of all time. It's an all-new Big Ten Icons hosted by Keith Jackson this week, only on the Big Ten Network. Check local listings. Was an Adrian Peterson fan from his Oklahoma days.
Oklahoma got shocked yesterday. Texas A&M getting them.
How about TCU?
Watch out for the Horned Frogs.
Chris Clue punting from his own 20-yard line. Booms this one. Andre Roberts all the way back at the 12. Roberts out of bounds At the 20 with 90 seconds remaining in the first half. 56-yard punt.
Well, the game started off with a great hustle play by great Camarillo here. Looks like Kerry Rhodes is going to have an easy interception return for touchdown. But just a great effort to strip that ball, get the touchback. Adrian Peterson scores on a reception, but right on that next kickoff, LaRod Stevens howling. 96 yards for the touchdown, his second one this season.
2 touchdowns in 13 seconds early in quarter 2. Now the Cardinals, with 1:30 remaining, start from their own 19-yard line. Anderson overthrows a wide-open Fitzgerald.
Wide open. Well, that would have been a big play to start your 2-minute situation drive here. Coming out of the slot, watch number 11. Everybody passes him by.
Wow.
Yeah. Derek Anderson really frustrated with himself missing that one. That was wide open.
Fitzgerald with 3 receptions today, playing in his 100th National Football League game. Larry split to the left, 2nd down and 10. 4 wide receivers. Anderson in trouble, down. Back at the 10-yard line on the pressure from Mediu Williams. 2nd sack for the Vikings, and Minnesota calls timeout.
Absolutely clean to the quarterback. Gives him a little bail like he's going out, and then turns back in. And nobody accounted for Mediu Williams.
He does a nice job of not letting anybody know that he's coming. A delay, all the linemen go away, and that sometimes they're the hardest ones to go and get the quarterback down when you come scot-free, Darryl. You get through the line of scrimmage and you think you're going to get it, and all of a sudden you get juked. Does a nice job of breaking down and making sure the quarterback's down for the sack.
Vikings no sacks their last 3 games. They have 2 today. 8 on the season. Vikings use their first timeout, stop the clock with 1:19 remaining in the half. And officially a half sack for Williams and a half sack for Jared Allen, who had gone 5 games without a sack. Third down and 19. Anderson to Fitzgerald, who makes a diving catch. A spectacular catch by Larry Fitzgerald for a Cardinals first down.
Again, at times, Derek Anderson can throw the ball as well as any quarterback in the NFL. And that's a great fit in between coverage right there against the Minnesota Vikings. Not a very big window, but he was able to get that in there to Larry Fitzgerald,
who gained 30 yards. From the 40, Anderson steps up, throws, Fitzgerald again. Another first down. Mediu Williams, the tackle, at the Minnesota 46.
And it's been an Achilles heel of this Vikings defense through the first part of the season. They've gotten teams into 3rd and long situations, and this defense can't get off the field. It's cost them a couple of games late when they haven't been able to get off the field defensively.
Anderson hit as he throws, intended for early Doucette, and it was broken up by the 2-time Pro Bowler Lito Shepherd.
Aggressive play by Lito Shepherd coming in, having the confidence that he's going to be able to get a hand on that ball. If not, early Doucette's got a catch and run coming. Leslie Frazier's done a great job with this group since Mike Tomlin left. They all believe in this system. It's been a tough year. Tony mentioned it at the top. They know that they just have to play better within this scheme. They have confidence in it.
2nd and 10 from the Vikings 46. Anderson moves to his left. Penalty marker downfield. Anderson running for the chains, and he is out of bounds after picking up a first down at the Vikings 35.
Before the quarterback left the pocket, illegal contact foul, number 25 of the defense. Since it was a running play, we'll add 5 yards to the end of the run, automatic first down.
That was contact down the field, deep in the secondary, and you heard Bill Levy talk about before the quarterback left the pocket.
So it's 1st and 10 from the Vikings 30. 37 seconds remaining in the half. Cardinals with 1 timeout. Anderson complete. Roberts inside the 15, the 10, and he is in for his first NFL touchdown.
You want to talk about poor hustle down for the Viking team. Arizona just embarrassed that defense.
Well, one of the things that we talked about up until this drive was the tackling, and that right there was very, very poor. They've done a good job at tackling. That was an issue for them last week against New England. But on this drive, at 3rd and 19, you've got them exactly where you want them, and you allow them to convert on the big pass down the seam to Larry Fitzgerald. Ends up costing you a touchdown. And you're calling timeouts because you think you're going to have an opportunity to get the ball back. All of a sudden, you give up the long completion on 3rd down, and now you're in trouble. And there's that tackling. Or lack of, I should say.
Lack of hustle. I mean, not even running to the ball. Now you got to turn. He caught the ball, turn and run. I mean, that's just poor effort right there. I mean, a guy just got cut from your team because he had poor effort. Chris Cook. It's not good.
So the Cardinals, in just over a minute, guys, drive 81 yards and take the lead.
And they'd really had no offense the majority of the first half. I mean, all their points came off the kickoff return by LaRod Stevens-Howling.
You know, you talk about the difference between last year and this year with the same guys on defense is in that situation, they would put enough pressure, sacks, they would find a way to get it done, and this team doesn't.
And Goose, as Darryl referred to, Cardinals only had 56 yards of offense prior to that drive. They go 81 yards in just over a minute.
Well, you talk about an issue, and you talk about it from week to week, but right now, Minnesota's putting themselves in positions to make plays defensively in 3rd and long situations, but they're not getting off the field. It cost them against the Jets. It cost them against the Patriots. It cost them against the Saints to open the season. They've got to get this fixed because they do everything right for 2 downs. You get them in that 3rd and long, you can turn that defensive line loose, but they're not getting off the field. They're giving up that big play, and another one right there on that drive with the catch by Larry Fitzgerald.
On the 3rd and 19, terrific reception. Fitzgerald gained 30, and the Cardinals kept their drive alive.
And just a change of what you're thinking at the end of that half. You're getting ready to call timeouts because you think you're going to get your offense back on the field. They make the completion to Larry Fitzgerald, and then you don't adjust. Now all of a sudden it's boom, boom, boom right down the field, and all those issues that you've been talking about all week long defensively pop up. The poor tackling, as Tony pointed out. Chris Cook, just a horrible angle. Not a great hustle effort there, and we saw a great one to start this game by Greg Camarillo, and they haven't been able to carry that through and sustain it yet.
Greg Camarillo saving a touchdown following the interception by Kerry Rhodes early in the game. Bit of a clock issue on the field. Bill Levy and his crew have things under control. Phillies kickoff taken at the 19-yard line by Harvin. Percy brings it out to the 32, and we apologize. The stadium clock still having issues. Stadium clock synced up to our Fox box, which is why you did not see the time in the upper left-hand corner.
There we go. Looks like they got it fixed.
I'll tell you what, that daylight savings time will really screw you up sometimes, Kenny. I was up at 4 o'clock this morning ready to go for this game. It was really messed up.
Well, gained an hour last night. And now the Vikings will let the clock run out. And they will regroup here at halftime. Following the Cardinals' 81-yard drive, Arizona taking a 14-10 lead over the Vikings. Crowd not very happy here in Minneapolis as the Vikings trail by 4. We'll return after these messages from your local Fox station. All right, thanks very much, Kurt. Arizona with a 4-point lead as we get set for the second half. And Darryl, to a man, a reminder, follow your favorite team all season long on iTunes.com/NFL. We talked to Brett Favre and many of the other players, and they realized the sense of urgency. They told us that if we can win this game, we're right back in the thick of things in the NFC North, but did not look like the sense of urgency was there from the defense on that Roberts touchdown.
It did not. It did not. And really that entire drive. And one of the things that Brett Favre said is this season could end better than last year did. Well, the only way that can happen for the Minnesota Vikings is to go to the Super Bowl. They went to the NFC Championship game, lost in overtime. If you're making that kind of a statement, our question was, well, how are you going to get that fixed? And he talked about the ball and that bouncing our way from time to time. We need a little bit of luck. And some of those things they just can't get consistency on. Chad Greenway with an opportunity on that interception early in the first half. They don't get that. They've got the 3rd and 19 late in that half where maybe they can get the ball back and get some more points. They give up the first down, and then they have some poor tackling. They actually give up a touchdown on that drive to go in 14-10 at half. So we're talking about a lot of the same issues that have been here through the first 7 weeks, and they're not getting them corrected for whatever reason.
Vikings will get the ball first as we start the second half. Brett Favre making his NFL record 293rd career start. Cardinals taking the lead on the Anderson touchdown pass to Roberts in the final minute of the first half as we check out the first half numbers.
Well, you know, we've got to take our hats off to the Arizona defense, too. I mean, only 30 yards rushing to Minnesota. I thought that was an area that they were going to be able to exploit. Maybe an advantage in this game, but that hasn't come out that way. And Arizona for hanging in there. You know, the game did not start off really well for them. They were struggling offensively. They get the big kickoff return by LaRod Stevens-Howling, and now their offense has kind of hit its stride a little bit.
Percy Harvin on the return for the Vikings. Harvin tackled at the 27. The ball came loose. And it's Michael Adams who returns it for a Cardinals touchdown.
I can tell you right now, there was no whistle blown. You had guys from Minnesota walking off to the sideline when that ball came out and then was scooped up by Michael Adams.
Timeout for an injured player.
Percy Harvin fighting, trying to create something. That ball comes off the body.
O'Brien Schofield, number 50, with the strip, and it's returned 28 yards for a touchdown by Michael Adams, the second return touchdown today for the Cardinals and the 8th of the season.
We also have an injured player on the field. We'll get that number for you. Have you an update when we get back from commercial.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com, by autotrader.com. Now compare new and used cars side by side at autotrader.com. By Domino's, oh yes we did. And by Bud Light, it's the sure sign of a good time. Here we go.
Wild start to the second half here in Minneapolis as the Vikings received the kickoff. Percy Harvin was stripped, returned for a touchdown, and Brad Childress has challenged the play. The question is, was Harvin down? He was not ruled down.
And I don't know if he was. There's O'Brien Schofield pulling the ball out, ripping that ball out as Percy Harvin was struggling to get more yards. The big thing is I did not hear a whistle from the booth. And there was actually a couple of Viking players right there. You see them go by. They're going by the field as the ball has come out. And then Michael Adams scoops it up. He sees it, and he's running towards the end zone.
Ruled a touchdown on the field as Adams brings it back 28 yards.
Yeah, Percy landed on Jeff Dugan. His body never hit the ground until after that ball was out.
This stands 8 return touchdowns for the season already. Now, that's unbelievable by Arizona.
In 8 games.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field stands. Touchdown.
Well, it is a Cardinals touchdown. Now, the other aspect of the play, the injury suffered by the Cardinals defensive end Kenny Iwebama.
Yeah, and it looks to be a significant knee injury. He actually walked off the field. He wasn't carted off the field, but Tony saw it and looked like the knee twisted pretty severely. Yeah. The training staff for the Arizona Cardinals were halfway out onto the field as that play was still unfolding. So we got our thoughts and prayers with Kenny Iwebama right now.
Jay Feely adds the extra point. So the Cardinals with a late touchdown in the first half, and now they score early in the third quarter, and they lead the Vikings by 11.
You know, you can't fault Percy Harvin. He's trying to make something happen. We'll watch the ball. You know, even in traffic, you know, he gets it tucked away. He's got it squeezed. It's just a good play by O'Brien Schofield. And you know, I struggled with fumbles my rookie year in the NFL. The players come after the football. Unbelievable. I mean, you have got to have that thing secured, and you've got to know right now that really nothing else great is going to happen. And, you know, at a certain point, the play is over. And unfortunately for Minnesota right there, you know, Percy Harvin put that one on the ground. Michael Adams scoops it up. And what a bizarre way to start the second half when you probably went in at halftime and said, hey, we gave up a late score, but you know what, we're getting the ball first, so let's get back out there on the field and you know, march down the field, and there you go. Here comes another return touchdown against you.
O'Brien Schofield stripped it. He's a rookie, 4th-round pick out of Wisconsin, playing in only his second game. Finally came back last week, suffered a knee injury while still in college, so he made the strip. And then you may remember Michael Adams with a huge play in the playoffs against Green Bay. His sack of Aaron Rodgers in overtime led to the Carlos Dansby game-winning touchdown. Well, he has a touchdown of his own here today in Minneapolis. Harvin this time holds on to the football, something that you just said a moment ago that you had a problem with during your rookie year in the NFL.
It was, and you know, I got this from Jim Hoffer, who was my college coach, and a lot of times you wanted to carry the ball here. You thought that this was more secure, and actually here where you get more, and you can put the ball, you put your hand on top of the ball here. That way, as you go through the contact zone, it's easy for you to break out to the side, and we see so often where it gets off that body, and all of a sudden you lose your points of contact.
We talked about the fumbling issue with both head coaches as Favre connects with Camarillo. On the Arizona side, Hightower has lost 3 fumbles this year. On the Minnesota side, Peterson has not fumbled this year. And Goose, from a defensive standpoint, what are your thoughts?
Well, it's just really, you know, attacking the ball. You have that little square up underneath that Darryl said that you want to go and cover up back in here and covering the ball. And there's always, you know, the other thing, you know, just put a little Velcro. I mean, you never want to get rid of the... You got to use your head. Defensive guys are always coming up with new things.
You guys got Vaseline. You got Vaseline on your jerseys. You got Velcro on your jerseys. It's like a hobby shop.
Stick it right on.
Favre to Berrien, 100% success rate with the Velcro, right, Goose?
Absolutely. I mean, look at him. Just look at it. It doesn't even come off. Look. Nice. I'm going to invent something like that.
Color of the Velcro does not matter.
Tim Hightower, I mean, that's why he found himself without a lot of opportunities last week, was his fumbling issues, and that's something, unfortunately, we expected to see with Kenny Iwebama going into the locker room, and we just hope that that everything is okay. And
2nd and 5, Harvin. Percy Harvin, terrific second and third effort. Picks up a first down as he nearly bowls over Kerry Rhodes, gain of 14.
Running like a man possessed, Darryl.
Well, I tell you what, you know how coaches are. Coaches need to push buttons, and I think the confrontation that Percy Harvin and Brad Childress had has paid dividends, because we didn't see this Friday at practice, Tony. You and I were at practice, and we were shocked when he was not inactive today. And I think the discussion that Brad Childress and Percy Harvin had, I think he got the message. He can be a very special, unique athlete in this offense. There's so many things he can do, but work ethic and passion for the game has got to be there.
On the 48-yard line. It's Harvin again. This time he slips.
That's that turf monster we were talking about.
He's over on the left side of the field today.
Yeah, he has 7 stud shoes. They usually wear these on grass. You know, they're not the rubber bottoms. And sometimes, you know, just look like you got caught up there for a second. That's the one thing about turf. You can wear any kind of shoe. You can wear a regular basketball sneaker. You can wear 7 studs that have the points. You can wear a molded bottom. And, you know, a lot of guys choose to wear different style bottoms. But, you know, I like the rubber molded bottoms. You get a little better grip there, especially on turf like this.
Toby Gerhardt got tripped up by the turf monster earlier. May have gone in for a touchdown. And now penalty markers on second down.
Ball start, number 40, offense. 5-yard penalty, second down.
Jim Kleinsaucer. Seventh Vikings penalty. Vikings led this game 10-7. Cardinals with 2 touchdowns in 41 seconds, spanning both halves. Arizona leading by 11. Favre on 2nd and 15. Complete to Jeff Dugan, but Joey Porter is right there to make the tackle.
Well, Brett Favre has been very patient with the football today, throwing low, and this is Jeff Dugan here. He's your tight end, and you expect a running play with Jeff Dugan in there. That's his strength, but you got to change it up a little bit. That's Brett's 11th straight completion, so you know, he's not stretching the field vertically today. The game plan hasn't called for it. He's taken 1 or 2 shots down the field when it's been there, but he's been very patient, very willing to just kind of exploit what Arizona's giving him underneath this afternoon.
Yeah, waiting for that double move to come. All these underneath throws.
Favre on 3rd and 12, and the pass is incomplete, intended for Harvin.
Yeah, I think Brett wants a penalty. Well, I have never seen him get up. Watch him on the hit. He's going to get hit by Kerry Rhodes on the blitz. It's a clean hit, but he is up immediately and down the field. I don't know what he was upset about, because it's a clean hit by Kerry Rhodes on the blitz.
He thought it was pass interference downfield.
Okay.
I don't think he was worried about himself. He was worried that Percy was mauled a little bit.
Immediately ran downfield. Penalty marker on the punt. Ran downfield towards the head linesman, Mark Baltz, to no avail. Fair catch called for by Roberts, and we will check on the flag with Bill Levy.
Wants to know if you want to re-kick it, you want 5 added on at the end of the kick.
Illegal formation. Only 6 men were on the line of scrimmage on the kicking team. The receiving team is elected to enforce the 5 yards at the end of the kick. It'll be first down, Arizona, timeout.
Brett Favre can only shake his head as he looks at the pictures. Cardinals lead by 11. 2 of their 3 touchdowns have come on returns. Derek Anderson, 10 of 14. 5 receptions for Larry Fitzgerald. You know, the Cardinals won a game earlier this season over New Orleans, 30-20 back on October 10th with 3 return touchdowns. They have 2 here today. Here's Hightower. Hightower spins across the 20. Out to the 24, gain of 6.
Oh, that's a good, strong run by Tim Hightower right there.
You know, the difference I'm seeing with this defense is, you know, no one on the Vikings defense is going after the ball. You know, you had them wrapped up, you had them secured. No one's attacking the ball like Arizona's defense. Once a guy's secured, they know they have the tackle, boom, they're ripping the ball out. That's the difference I see down here on the field.
Second down and 4. Anderson with time. Can't find anyone. Still looking. And runs for a first down. So a new set of downs for the Cardinals. We check in on the Lions and the Jets with Kurt Menefee.
Well, interesting play. The Lions went for a field goal. Roughing the kicker was called, so they decided to go for the touchdown. Matthew Stafford makes it count, but Ndamukong Suh had to come on to attempt the field goal because Jason Hanson was injured. He missed the extra point, and Detroit has a 3-point lead, 13-10 in the third quarter. Kenny Moose and Goose.
I didn't know that you could get a defensive tackle and a place kicker in the same guy, Goose. He's like you.
Come on, are you
I've watched you before the games.
We're multi-talented people, Darryl.
Ndamukong Suh used as a place kicker by the Lions. Tim Hightower bottled up just shy of the 30-yard line.
No, Goose, you made a good point about that. That number one, they're not going after the ball. Number two, I mean, Tim Hightower has had an issue with it this season.
Yeah, I know.
Why wouldn't you?
It's amazing. I don't know. If this is not the same team that we saw last year. I mean, they're not bringing the pressure. They're not hustling. They're not running. I mean, they don't understand that there's a sense of urgency here that they need a W. And Arizona's taking it to them right now.
Perhaps Hightower's using Velcro. Second down and 9. Anderson overthrows Steve Preston.
You know, Darryl, Leslie Frazier, I think he needs to bring more pressure. They need to bring more than just 4 guys up front because really, you know, they're not getting it done with 4 guys. They got to start bringing that pressure from the outside, forcing Derek to throw some bad, make some bad decisions. Right now, Derek Anderson is just sitting back there. He's making good decisions. He's running around. He has all the time in the world. And any quarterback that sits back there and has that much time is going to go and make something happen. But if you force him and not give him time to make good decisions, he's going to make bad decisions. And that's why Arizona's lost, because he's made bad decisions. But right now, the Vikings are not forcing him into that situation.
Here comes the pressure. Anderson steps up and fires. And Fitzgerald, the intended receiver, but the pass is incomplete. Nadir Williams on the coverage.
Larry Fitzgerald slow to get up. He's going to be coming from your left, right up the seam. Pressure off the edge, steps up. That is a great play by Nadir Williams because Larry Fitzgerald, you see, he's got it in his hands. Watch him come through and punch it out.
Now Graham punting from his own 20-yard line. Good kick. Camarillo from the 14. Camarillo out to the 35, a 21-yard return. And a penalty marker is down.
An eligible member of the kicking team downfield, number 54. 5-yard penalty from the end of the kick. Timeout.
Gerald Hayes, the guilty Cardinal. So the Vikings back at offense. Fitzgerald nearly made another spectacular catch, could not hold on.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Verizon, the official wireless service provider of the NFL.
Great to see many of the men and women who represent our country in attendance here today.
I had an opportunity to visit with some of them before the game down on the field. Always grateful and thankful for all they do for our country.
Happy Veterans Day this week. Vikings trailing by 11. 3 wide receiver set from the 40-yard line. Peterson tried to cut it back, but Gerald Hayes was right there.
Nice job by that defensive line of Arizona, going and staying on the line of scrimmage, knowing that the cutback's coming. See everybody going, locking out on the offensive lineman, and boom, as soon as he makes that cut, there's nowhere for Adrian to go. Linebacker's doing a nice job.
Well, that means he must have been clean, right, Tony? Because you're trying to climb up to that second level to get Gerald Hayes.
Yeah, what he did was the linebackers went and saw a nice hole there, and they hit the hole before the back saw it.
Peterson only 33 yards on 9 carries. Second and 10 from the 40. Percy Harvin in Cardinals territory. His 8th catch today, and it's good for 22 yards.
He's slow getting up, though, Kenny.
I tell you what, you can't say enough about his effort today. I mean, there's been a couple of times when he's come up limping like that, and he just keeps coming back into the lineup, takes a couple plays off.
He's a fighter.
This is great, too. Just keep running. Get into that second window on the slant. And there's a little bit of chemistry between Brett Favre and Percy Harvin being able to be established. Continue that slant. A lot of quarterbacks won't go to that second window on the slant.
Career best 120 yards today for Harvin. From the Cardinals 38. Favre fires. The catch is made. And taken down to the 7-yard line by Greg Camarillo. A 31-yard pass play.
He's had a great afternoon. Obviously, the hustle play in the beginning of the game, he's done a great job giving Vikings field position on the punt returns. Here he comes right here. You catch it, you get a linebacker man-to-man. Look at that fit by Brett Favre. Holy cow. Harris Lennon just couldn't get his head around quick. That went right by his shoulder.
First and goal from the 7. Here's Peterson. Peterson inside the 3. Gerald Hayes made the tackle. Well, the other receivers have certainly stepped up today. Harvin and Camarillo with some big catches on this drive leading to this first and goal play.
Yeah, watch the feet of Adrian Peterson. We talk about how physical he is, but look at these feet.
He just stops on a dime right there and just gets vertical.
So smooth.
Second and goal. Harvin in the slot. 2 tight ends. Berrien split out to the left. Shanko split to the right. Favre looking end zone. He was hit as he threw, and it is picked off by Rashad Johnson.
He was hit right as soon as he wound up to go and throw that ball.
The 3rd Minnesota Vikings turnover. Rashad Johnson, second-year safety out of Alabama, with his first career pick. Vikings had second and goal from the Cardinals 2, and they turn it over.
Yeah, he needs to go thank Joey Porter for that one.
Porter with the hit on Favre, which led to the 3rd Vikings turnover today. So now the Cardinals start from their own 7-yard line. Here's Hightower. Tries to cut it to the outside, and he's forced out of bounds by Winfield and Greenway.
Let's go back to that pick and take a look at it real quick. Right here on the outside, you got Joey Porter, okay, going against Bryant McKinney. Now, Bryant McKinney goes and overloads to the outside, gives Porter a direct line right to Brett Favre. I mean, before Brett Favre has a chance to throw it downfield, Porter's right in his face. He doesn't see him on the backside. That's why they always draft that left tackle, because you have to protect the backside of a quarterback. So that right there is exactly what's going to happen.
McKinney, a first-round pick back in 2002, went to the Pro Bowl last season. Beaten by Porter on that play. Second down. And 11. Inside handoff, Hightower. Out to the 11. So it will be a 3rd down and 6.
Boy, it's amazing when this Arizona Cardinal team doesn't beat itself, Tony. I mean, it's amazing to watch them here after watching the game last week against Tampa Bay when they had all the turnovers. And you go back and you look through what has happened to them from week to week as the season's gone on, and just, I mean, the turnovers really have killed them.
They are +2 today. 3 takeaways, a kickoff return for a touchdown, and a touchdown on a fumble return. 8 return touchdowns this season. First down and 6.
Bring the pressure on this one.
Here it comes. Anderson steps up and throws, and a diving catch is made by Steve Preston for a Cardinals first down, a 16-yard pickup.
You know, they bring the pressure on the outside, but nothing up in his face in the middle. Those guys in the middle, watch right here. These guys got to go and get pressure up in his face. There's no push right there. You can't go and let a quarterback like Derek Anderson just step up in the pocket, have a clear view down the field. I mean, look at his eyes. He has nothing bother him. No hands in his face, no people in front of him. He can make that throw all day if you give him that at 6'6".
First and 10 from the 28-yard line. Anderson Spins away from pressure from Kevin Williams. And the catch is made out at the 30-yard line by the tight end, Steven Spock. His first reception today.
There you go, Tony. You finally got some pressure on the inside to get him off of that spot. Kevin Williams with the inside move against Deuce Latui gets him out of the pocket. And as you said, at least, you know, he's got to reset his feet, and he can't just stand there, step up, and keep his eyes focused downfield.
Spock gains 4, now 2nd down and 6. Cardinals empty the backfield from the 32-yard line. Anderson, quick release to Larod Stevens-Howling, who has a Cardinals first down out to the 41-yard line. Gain of 9.
That was a nice play call right there, Dow.
Yeah, you know, exactly.
You start getting that pass rush a little bit. We talked about you need the pressure, and all of a sudden they go with that little screen that comes right behind the defensive ends, defensive tackles. They got to go and turn. If they go and get the first down, that'll slow them down a little bit. And that's what they're thinking over on Arizona sideline.
Kerry Rhodes heading off to the Cardinals locker room. Vikings with the edge and time of possession. Cardinals last in the lead in that category coming into the game. Here's Hightower. Stays on his feet and takes it out to the 47-yard line as we approach 1.5 minutes remaining in this third quarter. Arizona with a touchdown late in the second quarter, and then Percy Harvin stripped of the football on the second half kickoff, returned 28 yards for a touchdown by Michael Adams. The 4th opponent fumble return for a touchdown by Arizona this season, and that ties an NFL record last accomplished by the '99 Chiefs.
I wonder if Jared Allen has found himself in a doghouse this afternoon, because he's not on the field right now.
I just said that. I was like, what is he doing on the sideline in a situation like this?
2nd down and 5 with Jimmy Kennedy in for Jared Allen. Anderson throws, and the catch is made at the 36-yard line by Larry Fitzgerald with Asher Allen on the coverage. Fitzgerald in his second homecoming game here in Minneapolis, gained 17.
Recognized this just one step too late. He saw the ball coming out, dropped the other receiver on the outside, and came back. But that Larry Fitzgerald, that's just a great catch with that amount of contact right at the point of the catch.
Second time Fitzgerald has gone over 100 yards in this dome. Played here once prior back in 2006, and he caught 11 balls for 172.
Arizona. That's
Cardinals
their first charge timeout.
Call their first timeout. They are on the move, leading the Vikings by 11. Jared Allen back on the field. Late third quarter, his Vikings trail by 11.
It's just amazing to me. We're at 5 consecutive games without Jared Allen with a sack. He doesn't have one. He has a half sack. This one, you know, kind of fell in the pile when they had the safety blitz with Madieu Williams. But he's been out for a couple snaps, and I don't know if he's just catching his breath or what.
From the 36, Steve Preston looking to throw. He was a quarterback in high school, and the pass is complete for a first down to the rookie tight end out of Stanford, Jim Dre, gain of 16. Preston threw one pass in college. He played for Michigan. It was in this building, and it was a touchdown.
You can't read this play any better than Madieu Williams does. He does everything but make the tackle. I mean, he takes that little inside move, goes inside, and then actually, if you're going to miss on the outside. So Steve Preston has to come back inside to throw the ball.
So the Cardinals will take an 11-point lead into the fourth quarter in Minneapolis. Brett Favre and the Vikings went to overtime in the NFC Championship game a season ago. They lose this one today, they would drop to 2-6.
Unbelievable.
That last play Arizona had would remind me of the Pittsburgh Steelers, where Ken Wisenhunt was the offensive coordinator, across the 50-yard line. First thing you're going to get is a gadget play, exactly what Arizona did.
I just saw Preston complete the pass to Dre. Now Anderson looking to throw. He was hit. And the pass intended for Early Doucette sailed incomplete.
And that's the big thing. We've been talking about sacks this whole game, but just quarterback pressures, quarterback hits, hurries. just so Derek Anderson doesn't feel comfortable in the pocket. Jared Allen gets there just a step late on that one. Here comes the blitz from the front side from Adieu Williams, maybe a little bit deep when he started that.
And up the middle with Kevin Williams, too.
Tenth play of the drive for the Cardinals. 2nd and 10 from the Vikings 20-yard line. Tim Hightower up the middle, inside the 10, has a Cardinals first down. Gain of 12 for Hightower.
It's so surprising to me to see some big runs coming right up the middle against this defense. Chad Greenway just over pursues a little bit. That allows Tim Hightower to get back inside, straight up the middle.
First and goal from the 8. Hightower again, hurdles, takes it down to the 5 as we head for a game break with Kurt.
Falcon field goal put them up 27-14 on Tampa Bay. Trouble on the kickoff until Michael Spurlock picks it up and races 89 yards for the score. The 13th kick return for a touchdown in the NFL through the first 9 weeks. Only one off the record, and most games still have a quarter to go. That was 27-21, right now starting the 4th. Kenny Wilson Bills.
Well, that never used to happen in Tampa.
No, they went forever without having one.
Buccaneers return another kick for a touchdown. 2nd and goal from the 5. Here's Hightower, and he's tackled from behind. Terrific tackle made by Ray Edwards.
And that's what you have to do, because a lot of times when you get down here, you're going to turn the guy away from the ball loose. And that's going to be Ray Edwards back here. You're going to turn him loose, all right? And he takes advantage of that. If you're not going to block me, I'm going to run it down from the backside. And that's kind of a risky proposition against this Minnesota front with their guys on the edges, whether it's Ray Edwards or Jared Allen. Those guys are usually hustling down the line of scrimmage. You need to put a helmet on them.
Vikings defense trying to keep this a 2-possession game. Cardinals empty the backfield. 3rd and goal from the 4. Anderson throws it through the end zone into the 8th row.
But again, he had pressure.
Tell you what, quarterbacks are completely different now when they get a little pressure in their face. And it's just, it seems like Minnesota just figured that out.
So a big hold by the Vikings defense after the Cardinals drove 89 yards and chewed up 7.5 minutes following the interception of Favre by Rashad Johnson. 22-yard attempt, Jay Feely from the left hash. It's now a 2-touchdown game.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Visa. More people go with Visa. By Cadillac, the new standard of the world. And by McDonald's. I'm loving it.
World War II Memorial at the state capitol in St. Paul, Minnesota, dedicated to the more than 320,000 from this state who served in the armed forces during World War II.
320,000 soldiers from Minnesota.
Harvin will take it out. Down at the 17. Vikings with a big hill to climb.
Well, you have a defining moment in the course of the season, and right now this is it for the Minnesota Vikings. 12:36 to go in the 4th quarter, down by 2 touchdowns. This is really their entire season right here. They're talking about getting back into this NFC North race. Chicago 4-3, Green Bay 5-3. They've got to win here to get to 3-5 to have a chance. So here you go, folks.
Vikings start from their own 17-yard line, trailing by 2 touchdowns. Favre off the play fake, steps up and fires downfield. It's incomplete. He was looking for Bernard Berrien. No flags.
And you know what? They're doing this drive without Percy Harvin, Moose, who's on the sideline. He has a huge bruise on his elbow. It swelled up right after that run back, and they're working on him right now. If you watch the run back right here, he must have got a helmet right in that elbow. And when he gets up, look at that knot right there. That's huge. Wow. That's why he's not in there right now. Looks like they taped it up, and he's going to come back in.
Berrien split to the left, Camarillo to the right. 2nd and 10 from the 17. Favre with time. Pass is caught by Peterson out of the backfield, and Adrian Peterson picks up a Vikings first down, a gain of 15.
And that was the type of throw we saw in the first part of this game when Minnesota was going up and down the field. You know, check that ball down, a little play fake here. Watch Adrian Peterson, he just drifts out into the flat. You had the linebacker fall down in coverage. Joey Porter went down to the ground.
Well, they got to account for him. That brings that whole linebacking crew up a little bit and gives you a bigger gap for that next level.
From the 32, penalty marker as the pass is broken up by Greg Toller.
Pass interference, number 28 defense. First down, spot of a foul.
Tight coverage on the outside, trying to get that slant. You see the little hook. Good call by the officials on the outside. Not so much as he came across, as much as it was the hand on the back waist.
From the 40, Berrien met immediately by Michael Adams, loss of 4.
I don't know, you got to recognize that. They only had 3 down linemen. You got the safety up. Linebackers looked like they were ready to blitz. You had everybody up underneath. That little screen is not going to work in that situation. You got to get out of that play, Darryl.
I agree, Goose.
Second down and 14. Favre to the outside. And the catch is made by Camarillo at the 42-yard line, gain of 6.
And to get up on those toes, you make that a tough call by the officials, or put it close by staying flat-footed. You get up on those toes as that ball comes in.
Vikings just 1 for 7 on 3rd down. They need to get to midfield. Favre fires into Cardinals territory, and the catch is made by Camarillo for Vikings first down.
I'll tell you, we've seen a couple of great efforts today. Number 1, Percy Harvin has just been outstanding today. Fighting through that ankle injury, now he's got the bruise on the elbow, and Brett Favre carrying all his injuries into this game. The way he's competing.
He's doing a great job right now, moving his feet, getting away from that pass rush, buying himself some extra time to do
Off the hands of Asante Shanko.
But you worry right now, don't press. Don't make a throw.
Squeezing it a little bit.
Yeah.
That's a catchable ball right there, though, Darryl.
That would have been a nice catch.
Yeah, he put
in
that
a
in
situation like this, he has to come down with it.
He put it in the right spot where no one else can get to it. Shanko's got to come down with that. He hasn't had a catch yet today. Look at that. Glad you guys were listening to me in the booth there.
Always paying close attention, Tony.
Thank you.
2nd and 10 from the Cardinals 40. Favre, pump fake, and then a throw. There it is. Catch number 1 today by the tight end, Asante Shanko, at the Cardinals 34, gain of 6.
It's amazing to watch him hang in the pocket. Everything's breaking down. I don't know. I mean, over the years, of course, he's developed such an innate feel to know when that pressure is around him, when he can still hang in that pocket and make a throw.
Favre throws back across the field. It was intended for Greg Lewis. Trumaine McBride on the coverage.
Boy, and that's the one. That's the one last year in the championship game. And you can't move to your right and throw back across your body into the field.
And now the Vikings facing a 4th down and 4. They will leave their offense on the field trailing by 2 touchdowns. Vikings must get to the 30 for a first down. Favre steps up, he throws, and the catch is made for a first down by Percy Harvin.
Well, there's both of them. I mean, just an unbelievable performance by these two guys this afternoon. Percy coming out of the bunch. Nice little bump to create some separation on Adrian Wilson.
Nice job by the offensive line of giving them time and staying with it. Their blitzers.
9th reception for Harvin today. Favre complete once again. This time it's Greg Lewis. And Lewis
looked like he got the first down, Kenny.
Yep, out at the 17, picks up 11.
He gets that clock stopped. Winding it up again.
Nine minutes remaining, 4th quarter. Remember the Vikings on their last possession. That 2nd and goal from the 2, and then Favre was picked off. Here's Lewis once again. Down to the Arizona 8-yard line before he was tackled by Michael Adams.
A good job by Greg Lewis, too, understanding what's going on. This Arizona team has been able to take the ball away. And when he makes that catch, he secures it. Because Michael Adams is coming in trying to strip that ball at the end on the tackle.
12th play of the drive for the Vikings. 2nd and 2 from the Cardinals 8. 3 wide receivers. Favre complete. And Peterson, terrific effort to stay on his feet. And he picks up a Vikings first down.
This defense is sucking wind right now down here, guys. A lot of guys going and leaning over. Porter, this pass rush after pass rush wears out on you. And this offense is wearing its defense down a little bit. We're making some changes down here on the defensive line as we speak.
And Favre goes over 300 yards in today's game. Favre dives to the 3. Not sure that was what he had in mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he did either. Looks like Darnell Dockett's back down.
Well, here's your ultimate competitor again, getting on the outside, but he's also smart. Just get down to the ground.
Today's game is sponsored by Chevrolet. Every model is backed by a 100,000-mile, 5-year powertrain limited warranty.
Darryl, you said how important this drive would be for the Minnesota Vikings. They've taken it down to the Cardinals 4. 2nd and goal. Favre throws to the end zone, and it was deflected by Adrian Wilson.
And when we saw the last drive that this offense was on the field end in a similar way. We've all talked about that chin, but training staff's got to know when they come out to
Little
get
tender.
him cleaned up. Yeah.
Little tender.
Just a week old now.
That's Sugar, the trainer for the Vikings.
3rd and goal. Favre fires, Berrien. He was close to the goal line when he made the catch, and then he was forced back. Ball spotted inside the 1.
I think they got a great spot there because it looked like as Bernard Berrien was pushed back that he was going to try to run after the catch.
That was where he caught the ball.
Yeah, I know that's where he caught it, but it looked like, as you know, he spun out. He's getting ready to square his shoulders. And it all comes down to this. We've seen a couple of these this season by the Minnesota Vikings. 4th and goal at the 1.
Adrian Peterson, Darryl.
Wow, I hope it's not Adrian Peterson to the right, because they're 0 for 2 on that one this season.
The fullback Tahi joins Peterson in the backfield. 4th and goal. Favre looking end zone. Still looking. Now he throws, and the pass is broken up by Paris Lennon, intended for the tight end, Jeff Dugan.
I like the play call, but I don't know with Brett Favre at this position in his career. He's got to have the opportunity to run it in, and I just don't think that that was one of the options right there.
There's Paris Lennon on the left. Broke up that pass on 4th and goal intended for Jeff Dugan. Cardinals maintain their 2-touchdown lead with 6:18 remaining. And the fans here in Minnesota getting very restless. Anderson on the sneak, not much.
Let's go back and take a look at this 4th down play. There's going to be a collision with Asante Shenko that messes it up. All right, your fullback's going to go flat. Now he should be in and deep, and then Jeff Dugan will drag across late. But Asante Shenko gets collision. He can't get out to that far corner, and it bottles everything up. Hamza Abdullah does a great job of recognizing that boot and understanding the concept. Almost every offense runs this. He's going to the corner. Look at how he played that right there. He knew exactly what the concept of the play was and took away the second option from Brett Favre.
2nd and 10, Hightower coming out of the end zone. So the Vikings on that last drive, they go 16 plays, 82 yards, and come away with nothing.
It's a gritty performance right now by this Arizona Cardinal group, and Ken Whisenhunt has done a great job of keeping his team together and preaching to the fact that, listen, if we don't turn the ball over, if we don't beat ourselves, we're a good football team, but we can't turn the ball over the way we have this season and expect to win, especially on the road in this environment.
Instead, it's the Vikings, who were perfect at home last year, coming into this game with a 2-5 record, and Minnesota commits 3 turnovers and also allow a kick return to be brought back for a touchdown. Penalty markers on 3rd down.
Delay game. Offense. Half the distance to the goal, 3rd down.
Half the distance is about an inch. Under 5 minutes remaining here in the 4th quarter. 3rd down and 10 for the Cardinals. Anderson incomplete. Hightower could not hang on. Jack Greenway on the coverage, so the Vikings will get the ball back, presumably in pretty good field position.
I'm interested to see what Arizona decides to do here. I mean, you look where the ball is right now. I mean, you're about 5 yards shorter than you are what you would like to have for your punter. You know, do you ask your punter to burn some clock and take a safety and then kick from the 20, or are they going to kick from right here?
Tough to give away points. Graham just gets it off, end over end, taken at the Arizona 42 by Camarillo, and good coverage downfield by Trumaine McBride. So Brett Favre and the Vikings offense will go back to work from the Cardinals 40.
I mean, 2 really nice drives that end with nothing for the Minnesota Viking offense. The interception on Brett Favre on the drive previous to that one, and then the last drive, they miss it on 4th down.
They drove 58 yards down to the Cardinals' 2-yard line, and then the pick by Rashad Johnson, and then they drive 82 yards and cannot get it into the end zone. So another opportunity for the Vikings offense. 3 wide receivers set from the Cardinals 40. Last pass is caught by Shenko at the 33-yard line. There is a flag.
prior to the pass. Illegal contact, number 24 of the defense. The 5-yard penalty from the previous spot will be accepted. Automatic first down.
That's on Adrian Wilson. Let's check in with Kurt.
The Lions and the Jets, Matthew Stafford hooking up with a former Viking, Nate Burleson, 2-yard score. And suddenly the Lions have a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter. Kenny, if this stays the same in your game as well, it will be Detroit leapfrogging Minnesota into third place in the North.
You're absolutely right, Kurt. Vikings would drop to the cellar after winning the division each of the last 2 years. From the 35, low snap. Favre picks it up. Terrific recovery by Favre. He hits Berrien for a first down.
Bernard Berrien has just got to run. In that situation, just run. I mean, Brett Favre does an amazing job right here, keeping his composure, gets it up. He's able to find him on the field. Now just run. Just turn it, go north and south, and run.
We approach 4 minutes remaining from the Cardinals' 24. Favre firing downfield, and the catch is made inside the 5-yard line by Asante Shanko. 20-yard pass play. First and goal from the Arizona 4. Peterson. Touchdown.
I give this team a lot of credit, and I think it's evidence today what Brett Favre told us on Friday, that you would think with everything that's happened this year, the record we have, everything we've gone through this week, that there'd be a lot of guys in the locker room that were pointing fingers, and he talked about how close they were. The chemistry of this locker room, I think we've seen that today. I mean, over the last 3 drives, the way everything is unfolded, and yet this group still sticks it out, plays well together. The defense holds Arizona, forces them to punt onto a short field, and then the offense comes out and goes right down the field for a touchdown.
Favre said it's one of the closest locker rooms he's ever played with in his 2 decades. Here's the 20-yard pass to Shanko, which led to the Peterson score.
Well, it took him a while to get Asante Shanko involved in this passing game, but that was a big catch on that last drive. And yeah, get the ball in the end zone. Don't get into more of these 3rd and 4th and shorts for this offense.
So after driving 16 plays and not coming away with anything, Vikings score on 3 plays and now trail by 7.
This is a pretty familiar spot right here for this Vikings defense against Green Bay, New England. Same kind of a situation. The defense needs to come out and stop to give this team an opportunity to try and win this game. And didn't get it done, Darryl.
No. And, you know, Goose, with 2 timeouts and the 2-minute warning, I kick it deep here. I don't do an onside.
Absolutely.
I mean, Arizona has done a nice job this afternoon of moving the ball down the field methodically.
Taken at the 3 by Stevens Howling. Now to the 24. Well, next week, a Fox NFL doubleheader. Many of you will see the Vikings and the Bears, or the Lions and the Bills, followed by America's Game of the Week, the Giants and the Cowboys. Check local listings for the games in your area. It all begins with the Ford Fox NFL pregame show at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific next Sunday, right here on Fox.
Well, if this defense wants to go and be known in the league and prove to everybody that they're a defense not to be reckoned with, this is the opportunity. They got it right here. They need to shut down this Arizona's offense right now.
From the 24-yard line, Goose Anderson hands off to Hightower, and he is hit for a loss by E.J. Henderson, who also lost his helmet.
And Derek Anderson has made good decisions all afternoon. He had that one bad throw early in the game, but other than that, he's played well. It'll be interesting to see what the play calling is. Do we continue to play power football like we do right there? Or are we going to give Derek Anderson an opportunity to move these chains?
Vikings use their second timeout. Stop the clock with 3:24 remaining. As you see on our Fox box, upper left, Cardinals have 2 timeouts, Vikings with 1. Second down and 11.
And if I'm going to take a throw down the field, to take a shot down the field to keep these this drive alive, I'm going to do it on this down here. I don't want to wait the 3rd and long with this Minnesota defense.
Fitzgerald split to the left, top of the screen. 3 receivers to the right. Instead, they keep it on the ground with Stevens Howling, who broke the first tackle attempt and then takes it up to the 24. Again, it's E.J. Henderson on the tackle, and the Vikings burn their final timeout with 3:19 remaining.
Well, you spread everybody out. You're going to try and sneak it inside. Minnesota not fooled on this one. Jared Allen misses a tackle in the backfield.
Yeah, he had an opportunity to get a huge tackle for a loss on that play.
And Tony, I wonder right now how much you go back to last week when you're in position to kick the tying field goal against Tampa Bay, and Derek Anderson tries to fit one, and you have the interception, and you lose that game. You know, does he have the trust? Does Ken Wisenhunt have the trust in Derek Anderson just a week later from that situation to put him in a position to throw the ball down the field right now? Or are you going to go ultra conservative?
Well, he's got to know if he doesn't have it, he's got to get rid of it and punt the ball. He can't try to force something in to a situation where he can go and get a turnover right now.
But that's what he did last week.
Yeah, exactly. Well, this stadium has come alive.
Cardinals must get to the 34, and they do not, as Fitzgerald is forced back by Lito Shepherd, who lost his helmet. Vikings defense does a terrific job. Cardinals go 3 and out.
Well, this is a great job of understanding what the offense will do in this situation. You bring maximum pressure, you force an adjustment in the route, and Lito Shepherd plays it perfectly and then finishes the play with a good tackle.
Nice job of wrapping it up.
Second consecutive 3 and out for the Cardinals offense. Camarillo's had some nice returns today.
Ben Graham needs a big kick here.
End over end, taken at the 25 by Camarillo. Penalty marker. Camarillo out of bounds at the 28.
They have done such a good job all game long on their punt returns, and it looks like they may have a penalty right here on the most critical one.
During the return, illegal block in the back. Number 31 of the receiving team. 10-yard penalty, first down.
That's on Chris Cook. With the shove to the back of Stevens Howling.
I don't know about that.
Yeah,
Listen,
at least the guy has to go on the ground.
I like to see competition, but you can't call that right there. That's, wow. Don't put your hands up if you're Chris Cook.
Yeah, but I agree. I know what you're saying, Tony. There wasn't a whole lot there, not in that situation.
So now Brett Favre and the Vikings must drive 77 yards. They have no timeouts. Trailing by 7. 3 wide receivers set on first down. Favre gets rid of it, and the catch is made for a first down out to the 38-yard line by Bernard Berrien. 16-yard pass play.
2-minute warning coming up. Looks like they're not going to get the ball off.
They do not. So the Vikings now must go 62 yards in 2 minutes. Back in Minneapolis, Kenny Albert, Darryl Johnston, Tony Siragusa. 2 minutes remaining. Cardinals lead the 2-5 Vikings by 7. First and 10 Minnesota from their own 38. receiver set for the Vikings. Here comes Adrian Wilson. Favre gets rid of it, and it's taken into Cardinals territory by Peterson to the Arizona 30. 33 yards from Favre to Peterson.
Darrell Bevel does a great job of anticipating this. He's got the perfect play called into the Arizona blitz that just came. What a great job of anticipation.
Vikings, no timeouts. They need a touchdown. From the 29. Favre in trouble. Down he goes. Joey Porter with his second sack today.
Well, Adrian Peterson, after that great run, he also has to understand that he can't go low and chop Joey Porter because Brett Favre is going to hold the ball. It's not a three-step drop. So you've got to go up and engage and stay on your feet.
2nd and 16. Favre steps up, throws, and it's caught inside the 20 by Visante Shanko. Close to a first down. It will be 3rd and inches. Favre on the sneak. First down, Vikings. But there is a flag.
Oh, that's a huge penalty. Wow. He took his time. I can't believe everybody didn't get set. He gave them plenty of time to get set.
Illegal shift on the offense. 2 men moved prior to the snap and did not reset. Because the foul happened inside of 1 minute, we have to run 10 seconds after the 5-yard penalty. With the Gamecock operator put 34 seconds. Thank you.
I tell you, he did everything you want to do. You're a 3rd and short situation. Smart play call to get the first down. He gave everybody plenty of time to get set. That's a huge mistake by this Minnesota offense.
3rd down and 6. Favre fires downfield. Touchdown! Visante Shanko!
What a huge 4th quarter by Visante Shanko. Phil Lodehold down on the field right now. And I tell you, the way that this offense has played in the 4th quarter, it could just be dehydration and cramping. They've been out there a long time.
What a perfect pass from Brett Favre to Shanko.
We welcome those of you who have just joined us who have been watching the Falcons and the Buccaneers. The Vikings, with under 4 minutes remaining, trailed by 2 touchdowns. They are an extra point away from tying this game.
I mean, Adrian Wilson does everything. He stride for stride. He gets his head around and everything. But the ball is just put in a perfect spot by Brett Favre.
He had perfect coverage.
We got a little bit of unfinished business out there, though, Tony.
Got to get this extra point.
Ryan Longwell. Has tied the game. 14 points for Brad Childress' Vikings in 3 minutes, 7 seconds. How about this, guys? In career start number 293, Brett Favre today has thrown for a career best 424 yards. It's only his 2nd career game with 400 yards or more. Did it back in December of '93 in Chicago.
We talked about, with 12 minutes to go in this game, a defining moment for the Minnesota Vikings. Yeah, their season is hanging in the balance. Look at the emotion on Brett Favre's face right now. I mean, it's unbelievable. Down 14, they've gone up and down the field in the second half, but have come away with no points. They've got to go down and get points. They get stuffed up. They have an interception, 4th down. Here's how the half starts at 14-10. They fumble the opening kickoff. Michael Adams takes it in. It's 21-10, Arizona. There's a touchdown by Adrian Peterson on the previous possession that got it to a 1-touchdown game. And then right there, a great throw by Brett Favre to get it to 24-24 here.
A 5-play, 77-yard drive with no timeouts. The Minnesota Vikings tie the game. Ron Stevens howling. Brought one back all the way in the second quarter. Tackled at the 38.
That's a little bit more on the kickoff return than you would want as a Viking fan. Derek Anderson has played very well this afternoon. What has been the Achilles heel of this Cardinals team all season long, the big mistakes and the turnovers, has not been there. Only one turnover today. They have played well.
Cardinals, especially when they've given Derek Anderson time. He's been picking off downfield, so.
Cardinals have 2 timeouts. They only need to go about 25, 27 yards to get into field goal range for Jay Feely. 23 seconds remaining in a tie game. Anderson in trouble. Down he goes. Back at the 34-yard line. Finished off by Jared Allen. Cardinals call timeout with 12 seconds on the clock.
The dynamic of the Minnesota Vikings finally starting to come back to what we saw last year. You don't want to be in this situation against this Minnesota defense because of their ability to rush the passer. We haven't seen that over the last 3 weeks. They've got an opportunity to slam the door shut here and go to overtime. And that's really what this game has been. Both of these teams during the course of the season trying to find that fit between offense, defense, and special teams. The Arizona Cardinals trying to adjust to the life after Kurt Warner and the instability at the quarterback position. Their defense trying to find their niche. Minnesota kind of in the same boat. A dominant team from last season really struggling this year.
This is one guy right here. You better know where he is. That's Larry Fitzgerald. That's one guy that can get you in the field goal range. Here goes the motion.
12 seconds remaining. Cardinals with 1 timeout. Anderson dumps it off, and it's broken up. Jared Allen. Terrific play to get a hand on it.
Great vision by Jared Allen picking up the screen. Everyone's thinking it's going to be a play downfield. He goes, he recognizes the offensive line setting up, finds the screen right there. Takes care of it.
Third down and 13. 8 seconds remaining in regulation. Anderson spins away. Now he's wrapped up by Ray Edwards. Down he goes as time runs out. And we are headed for sudden death overtime in Minneapolis.
Well, that's what we're used to seeing against this Minnesota defense. If you can give them some coverage down the field, that front they'll beat their man one-on-one and get to the quarterback. That was the near side. Here's the trips receiver side. They've got everything covered up. That allows that front to get to the quarterback, and here they come.
And all those defensive backs on that pitcher down with their eyes in the backfield, seeing what's going on, when that ball's going to be released, and watching those defensive linemen put pressure on Derek Anderson.
The Minnesota Vikings with 2 touchdowns in the last 3 minutes, 34 seconds, and their defense came alive in the fourth quarter as well. They held the Cardinals to a field goal early in the fourth quarter, which kept this a 2-possession game.
The first team that scores will win the game. If neither team scores, the game will be reported as a tie. 2 timeouts per team. Fourth quarter timing rules will be in effect, and all replays will be initiated by the booth. You're the visitors. Heads is the call. And it is heads. You got the ball. Good goal. You're in the right direction. Arizona won the toss and will receive. Good luck, gentlemen.
Larry Fitzgerald called heads. Heads it was. Cardinals will get the ball first. for overtime in Minneapolis. 9th overtime game of the NFL this season. The Vikings were on the verge of dropping to 2-6. They score 2 touchdowns in the last 3 minutes, 34 seconds. Cardinals win the toss. They get the ball first here in overtime. Laurent Stevens-Howling out to the 27. Home team's 5-3 this year. The coin toss winner in the 8 prior games has not scored on the opening drive. 2 timeouts apiece. Coaches cannot challenge. Everything by way of the replay booth after the audiences that joined us late. Due to NFL rules, we can keep you here until 15 after the hour, 6 minutes from now. So enjoy. Derek Anderson and the Cardinals start from their own 27 in overtime. Anderson looking to throw on first down. It is intended for Fitzgerald.
We talked about it earlier, Darryl. That's one thing that Derek Anderson can't do, is try to force the ball to Larry Fitzgerald. He's down the field. They're going to be covering him. It was over his head, but you know, he did not want a turnover in this situation.
He's done a good job with that. He's only had one really poor throw the entire game, and it was very, very early. He's done a good job with the ball. But again, we talked about it earlier, Tony. He's got to build that trust back because he had a critical turnover late in the game last week that cost him against Tampa Bay.
3 wide receivers set on 2nd and 10 from the 27. Anderson in trouble. Down he goes. Back at the 21-yard line. Chad Greenway. It is the 5th Viking sack.
And they have really dialed up the pressure here, Tony, late in the 4th quarter and here right at the beginning of overtime.
I mean, this is a whole different team when they put the pressure on. That defensive line and linebacking crew has to go and put it on their shoulders to get this job done today.
Again, here's one of the areas that they've struggled with, Tony. The 3rd and longs getting off the field. They've let up some big plays during the course of the season to keep drives alive.
3rd down and 16. Cardinals must get to the 37. Anderson under pressure. Down he goes. Back at the 22. Jared Allen the sack. Anderson was ruled down, the 6th Minnesota sack today. They only had 6 all season coming into this game.
And there's been a lot of effort plays today by this Minnesota team. And there's another one by Jared Allen right there because Derek Anderson does a good job stepping up in the pocket, avoiding the wide rush. And Jared Allen never gives up. He just comes around the horn and puts the big hit on him.
It's tough for a quarterback, and you saw right there in that last replay. When your eyes aren't downfield looking for your receivers, and you're so worried about that rush, you can't find anybody to go to. It makes it so difficult.
4th consecutive 3 and out for the Cardinals. The punt by Ben Graham. Camarillo lets it bounce, no return. And it is out of bounds, shy of the 35-yard line. A reminder to those of you who joined us late due to NFL rules, we can only keep you with us until 15 minutes after the hour. Brett Favre, career high 424 yards today in the air. You saw his record in overtime. He is 8-8. And of course, the last time the Vikings went to overtime, the NFC Championship game against New Orleans. Vikings start from their own 31. Their first possession here in overtime. Adrian Peterson. Peterson across midfield. Inside the Cardinals 40 to the 39. Peterson gains 31 yards.
And I'm surprised that Arizona was as aggressive with their play calling in their series. 3 consecutive passes. Minnesota comes out here on their first one. Just get back into the normal flow of the game. Hand it off to your big man. Look at him run through arm tackles. That's the whole thing. There was nothing there. Adrian Peterson made something out of nothing. That's all him. And you're right. You can't arm tackle that guy, Darryl.
From the Arizona 39 off the fake, it's Peterson, penalty marker. Peterson gains 5 down to the 34, but there is a flag.
Holding, number 64, offense. 10-yard penalty, repeat first down.
The right guard, Anthony Herrera. The Vikings trailed by 2 touchdowns. Darryl, you said this drive will be the most important drive of the Vikings season. They scored to pull to within 7. And then Brett Favre to Desante Shanko with 27 seconds remaining in the 4th to tie the game.
Now, Kenny, actually on my drive was the one that they went for it on 4th down and missed it. And their defense was able to hold. So they actually even surpassed what I thought they had to do.
1st and 20 from the Arizona 49. The catch is made by Bernard Berrien. Takes it inside the 30 down to the 27 of the Cardinals. 23 yards from Favre to Berrien.
And we've seen this a couple times into the second window on that slant. Not trying to get it in front of the linebacker, but actually behind him as he goes out into that flat coverage.
Bernard Berrien also done a great job of covering that ball up. Ball security, that's one thing they've had today.
Vikings are in field goal range. Here's Peterson to the 25. Ryan Longwell getting ready on the sidelines.
I don't know how he does it. I don't know how he does it. At his age right now, in overtime, the way he played down the stretch on those last 2 possessions. And we've had a couple
I'm sure watching him, Darryl. He's our age.
He and Percy Harvin today have impressed me so much.
Unbelievable.
Percy Harvin, I have so much respect for him after the way he performed today.
Kept fighting, coming back, injured on the sideline, back out.
9 catches for Harvin. Berrien has 9 as well. Here's Peterson running left. And Peterson takes it down to the 23-yard line. And that is Paris Lennon, Cardinals linebacker, unable to get back up. So the Vikings now facing a 3rd down and 7 from the Cardinals 24. With 4:06 gone by in overtime, Lennon back up onto his feet.
Well, let's go back in and take a look at Percy Harvin. We didn't even think he was going to be able to play today when we saw him in practice on Friday. And he's done everything he can ask. Catch and run, mixing it up down inside, physical with the ball after the catch. And there's been a couple where he's popped up after the catch, hasn't been able to go on the next snap, has gone off to the side. Been back out on the field a couple of plays later. Just a great effort by Percy Harvin today.
Right now the field goal attempt to be 42 yards if the Vikings do not gain another yard. Here's Peterson. And Adrian Peterson takes it down inside the 17.
Looks like his knee hit just short of the 1st down.
Continues to run hard. Here comes the field goal unit.
I mean, he just keeps running. Look at him pump his legs. Running, running. As soon as his knee right there stops, that's where the ball's got to be marked. Good job by the officiating crew.
So here's Longwell. He's been a teammate of Favre for 11 years. 9 in Green Bay, 2 in Minnesota. Perfect in his career in overtime. A 35-yard attempt. The kick by Longwell in overtime is straight through, and the Minnesota Vikings, for the moment, save their season.
I think the big question everybody has had all week long is how are the Vikings team emotionally? How are they doing? How is that locker room? And I think that their performance here this afternoon answers anybody that has questions about how tight-knit this group is. All the distractions, the big issue with leaving Randy Moss behind this week, and this team comes out and puts a performance like this up. Unbelievable.
Another defining game in the Hall of Fame career of Brett Favre. We'll be back.